I never thought it would snow in Hawaii in September until the temperature dropped to -80 degrees. Blizzard buries houses. Power system collapses. People realize disaster has struck as countless freeze to death at home. Cold wave sweeps the globe. In my previous life, I accidentally discovered that my girlfriend Yang Shui was having an affair with my good friend Zhong Chong. They shoved me out the door in a fury, and I ended up freezing to death on the street. Luckily, fate intervened and gave me another shot. This time, I'll make sure they feel the terror that the cold brings. I threw out all the heavy clothes and cleaned out all the food in the fridge while Yang Shui hasn't noticed anything unusual yet. I left only a box of wheat juice in the fridge. I really hope that they can have hot takeout food when the cold winter comes. The most important thing right now is to clear the blocked ventilation holes due to the heavy snow. But the snow is just too much. In the blink of an eye, the area we just shoveled is already up past our ankles. This makes me a bit anxious. At this rate, it won't be long before the second floor is covered with heavy snow. Thinking about Yang Shui and Zhong Chong living on the 6th floor not freezing to death, while my second floor small building is almost buried, makes me feel as if my heart is being fried. It's so uncomfortable. After shoveling the snow off the roof, I tied 2 red ribbons to the vent to prevent the house from being buried by heavy snow. This way, I can locate the vent using the red color. After finishing everything, I returned to the house and found that the electricity and gas were still working, which was a pleasant surprise. I'm really happy for Yang Shui and Zhong Chong. As long as the power doesn't go out, we can still use the air conditioning and won't freeze to death so quickly. As I was thinking, I lit the fireplace. Shortly after, the air raid shelter became warm like spring. I took off my cotton jacket, brewed a pot of tea on the fireplace, picked up my tablet to open the surveillance. On the sofa, Yang Shui was cursing furiously with a pale face. UGE, that bastard. I'll go find him when the snow stops. I won't let him get away with it. Seeing their miserable state instantly lifted my spirits and made me feel much better. I put down the tablet and picked up the phone, only to be bombarded with countless missed calls and messages insulting me. Most of them were from Yang Shui, with a few texts from Zhong Chong, all filled with false concern and asking where I was. This scoundrel really thought I didn't know he was with Yang Shui, pretending to act with me. I quickly glanced at the messages and didn't reply. Instead, I opened the group chat in the neighborhood. I first sent a red envelope to the group, attracting everyone's attention. Then I kindly reminded everyone that the weather is too strange, and we don't know how long it will last. I suggest everyone to cherish the drinking water, food, and warm clothes and blankets at home. Be prepared for the worst. I remind them to close the doors and windows, in case the heavy snow doesn't stop and the temperature keeps dropping. People without food, water, or warm clothes may do anything to survive. Yang Shui and Zhong Chong won't just sit around and do nothing. When they can't bear it anymore, they will definitely seek help from their neighbors. I need to cut off their avenue for help. Even though it may not make much of a difference, I still remember the day when I was freezing to death. I knocked on the doors of my neighbors across the hall and downstairs for help. I wanted a thick coat or for someone to call the police, but no one answered. I don't blame them though. It's normal for people to be too busy or hesitant in times of crisis. I don't hold it against them. The only people I resent are Yang Shui and Zhong Chong. After kindly reminding the neighbors in the group, I opened Zhong Chong's chat box and replied with "I'm at home. How about you?" In the surveillance video on the tablet, Zhong Chong seems to be frozen, but Yang Shui noticed my reply and quickly handed the phone to Zhong Chong. "Quick, UGE replied to your message," she said. Zhong Chong, with a trembling voice, said, "Just reply if you want. He can bring us food or clothes and blankets. Are you stupid? Ask for his address quickly. When the snow stops, we can go there to return the money." Zhong Chong took the phone, and it was evident he was freezing. After watching his fingers sliding on the screen for a while, I did not receive any message. After turning off the lights, I took a photo in front of the fireplace. In the dark background, you can only see the warm fire, my tea in front of me, and a few pieces of cookies. I sent the photo to Zhong Chong. I lazily sent a voice message saying, "Oh no, can't believe it's snowing at this time, and so heavily too. Luckily, I have a fireplace at home, or I would have frozen to death." Zhong Chong's expression and movements immediately stiffened. Then he gritted his teeth in anger. He was actually by the fire, with food to eat. How can he be so comfortable? Yang Shui seemed to be triggered as well. After a moment of being stunned, she urged Zhong Chong to ask for my address. However, when Zhong Chong called, I hung up directly, telling him I was hungry and needed to cook. Yang Shui impatiently snatched the phone and kept calling me. I put my phone on silent mode and set it aside, then went to make myself something to eat. Quickly cooked a pot of chicken and mushroom stew, served with fragrant rice. I picked up my phone, took some pictures, and sent them all to Zhong Chong without hesitation. It's okay if he can't eat. At least he can have a look. Yang Shui is busy calling the police for help in the surveillance footage. "Officers, we have no food and warm clothes. We are freezing to death. Please come and save us." I chuckled when I saw her expression getting more and more serious. Looking at her face, I knew the police were helpless. Will they fly over to bring her a blanket in this snow taller than people? In the evening, I went back to the second floor terrace and checked the ventilation opening. The snow was still falling heavily, but thankfully I had added a long stainless steel pipe to the opening, so it shouldn't get buried for at least 2 days. However, the temperature is getting lower and lower, and I don't even know how cold it is now. My phone froze and shut down when I took it outside. My teeth were chattering, so I hurried back to the bomb shelter. I sat by the furnace for half a day before feeling better. Then I noticed that the monitoring system for Yang Shui and Zhong Chong was down. There was wailing in the building complex. Without electricity, the air conditioning couldn't work. It would be a living hell for Yang Shui and Zhong Qiong without warm clothes and thick blankets. I should have felt delighted by their predicament. But at that moment, I couldn't bring myself to be happy. Amidst the overwhelming flood of information on my phone, besides cries for help, there were also tragic reports of many people freezing to death in the snow disaster. I saw the army, police, and numerous volunteers getting involved in snow clearing and rescue operations, which brought tears to my eyes. It probably reignited a sense of passion in my heart. That night, I slept particularly soundly, not even having a single dream. When I woke up, it was already 7 a.m. The fire in the fireplace had gone out, but the temperature inside the bunker was still okay. Remembering the agreement in the volunteer group from yesterday, I immediately got up. First, I shoveled the snow off the terrace and roof, then started clearing the snow in the yard. According to the volunteers' agreement, everyone tried their best to shovel a pathway from inside to outside the front door, and then slowly extended it outward. As long as there was a way out, people could be saved. However, being alone and lacking strength, after clearing the snow from the terrace and roof, it took me half a day to dig out a snow pit only half a meter away. I gave up, realizing that with my abilities, I couldn't even dig to the gate of the yard no matter how hard I tried. Feeling down, I returned to the bomb shelter and cooked 15 dumplings filled with meat, then ate them all while they were still hot. I just started checking the messages on my phone. Thank goodness, the network signal is still on, probably because there is a signal tower on the mountain. Even though I am in the air raid shelter, the signal is strong. There are still many messages cursing at me. Besides Yang Shui's, there is even Zhong Qiong's. They really don't plan to let me off. Even though the power is out, they still waste their phone battery to curse at me. It seems like they truly love me. Then I picked up my phone, added Zhong Qiong and Yang Shui into a small group, sent a photo of the freshly made dumplings we had just now, and then I sent a voice message with a smile asking if they want to eat. There was no reply from their side. I don't know if their phones ran out of battery or they froze to death. I hope it's the latter. It has been 2 to 3 days since the blizzard started. They haven't eaten or drunk anything, don't have warm clothes, and are experiencing a power outage. I really feel sorry for them. The next day, the snow finally stopped, but the temperature dropped even lower. According to official announcements, the outdoor temperature is below -80 degrees. It's impossible for people to go out, and even rescue operations have been suspended. In the coldest village in the north, the lowest temperature is only around -58 degrees. They are like pampered princesses and princes. Who can stand such low temperatures? I don't pay attention to Yang Shui and Zhong Qiong, but they both came to me. Yang Shui sent me a selfie with a soy sauce-colored blanket and smugly sent me a voice message. You think taking away the thick blanket can freeze me to death, you jerk? Zhong Qiong sent me a photo of him wearing a men's padded jacket and eating instant noodles. I coldly huffed, thinking he assumed I had never eaten that before, but then I was surprised to see the food and clothes. I quickly recognized it was Zhong Qiong in the photo, from his clothes and the background of an old man downstairs. I saw him wearing that clothes before, and the place behind him is also the home of that old man. The old man gives off a creepy vibe, and he has been reported for harassing women more than once. He is also shady and likes to take advantage of others. It's unimaginable that he would give Yang Shui something to eat during such a shortage of resources. Without thinking, I know what Yang Shui had to do in return. I didn't say anything, just wished her and that old man happiness. Then I posted Yang Shui's photo in the neighborhood group chat and tagged that old bachelor, congratulating him on becoming a groom with just a packet of instant noodles. The group was in an uproar, with some people looking down on and others teasing him, but mostly marveling at how incredible the old bachelor was. They lamented that they didn't know when the disaster would end or when help would arrive. Yet he was willing to give away precious food to others. Some even proposed trading or buying food from the old bachelor. After a while, the old bachelor finally came out and started yelling at me, accusing me of violating his privacy rights. I was innocent. Yang Shui herself sent me that picture. I was just happy for her. Is that also wrong? Those who were supposed to exchange and buy food with him suddenly got angry, saying neighbors should help each other. He refused to share food with others, which made them feel disrespected. Some even questioned him, wondering if he intentionally wanted to see them starve to death. Faced with the anger of the neighbors, the old bachelor panicked and blurted out that he only had a packet of instant noodles, and he felt sorry for Yang Shui, so he gave it to her. After eating the noodles, Yang Shui left. I pretended to innocently say that Yang Shui's family has no food. She and her boyfriend want to survive, so they can only ask for help from the neighbors in the building. I hope the men in the building will learn from the older single men and make sure to help her. As soon as I said that, the female homeowners started cursing loudly. They said if their husbands dared to give food to that woman, they would chop them into mincemeat. I closed the dialogue box satisfactorily, focused on eating my meal. After such a fuss, the old bachelor is bound to consider 2 questions in this time of scarcity. Are women important or is food important? If his neighbors find out that he has extra food, what awaits him? He's not stupid. He will surely choose to protect himself. Meanwhile, Yang Shui will become a thorn in the eyes of the female homeowners. They will closely watch their men, not letting them give Yang Shui even half a grain of rice. In this situation, if you all can still survive, then I truly admire you. The cold weather has been persistent, and 2 days later heavy snowfall came down again, which made me very nervous. If it keeps snowing heavily like last time, the vent will be buried in less than half a day. Shoveling snow, power outages, monitoring the weather, and following the news, all my attention was focused on these 4 things. When I heard about the news of Zhong Qiong and Yang Shui, it was already 10 days later. As I suspected, both of them passed away. Yang Shui died of starvation, while Zhong Chong was killed while trying to break into the neighbor's house to steal supplies. A photo was posted in the group, and I stared at it for a long time. Someone mentioned that they once saw our male neighbor secretly feeding Yang Shui. So why did she still die? It's actually Zhong Chong's spirit that has improved a lot. Could it be that Yang Shui loves Zhong Chong deeply and has given him all the food she begged for? I sneered. I know them too well. They are all selfish and malicious. None of them would sacrifice themselves for each other. So the truth is that all of Yang Shui's food was stolen by Zhong Chong. As I laughed, I suddenly noticed tears streaming down my face without knowing when. I don't know why I'm crying. Maybe it's because my heartfelt efforts were unappreciated. The sudden cold spell in the autumn of 2026 caught us off guard, and no one knew how long it would last. Luckily, the heavy snow finally stopped. Electricity was restored first, followed by gas. In extreme weather, human nature splits into two extremes. Some people resort to cannibalism to survive, while others sacrifice their own lives to ensure the elderly and the weak can eat. But almost everyone is no longer in a panic. The snow has stopped, even though there is a mountain of snow everywhere. But in front of thousands of people, these difficulties will eventually come to an end. I sat by the fireplace, frying small yellow croquers and humming a song, looking forward to the day with confidence.